Hello everyone, my name is Neha Anil Survase. I am here for DA practical presentation. Now let me share my screen with you so that we can see the PPT which I am going to refer for this. It will take a little time. Let's go to my first question. My first question was execution of the code mentioned here. The question was load Toyota.csv file, mention the size and NAND drop values, draw the regression plot of age versus price, use Seaborn library and fit regression condition equals to true, mention title XY label using red color and marker. My code outline is importing libraries, Seaborn and pandas, importing data, removing NAND, plotting data. Now let me take you to my code. First, we have imported the various libraries such as Panda, Matplotlib, NumPy, Seaborn. The fifth line of the code gives us the condition for the functions of pandas to read CSV file. df.head, this head command is to display the first file. df shape, this gives the command for displaying the size of our data. That is, the size comes here in rows and columns. 1436 are the rows and 10 are the columns. Here df.drop na, this is the command for dropping the NaN values, that is dropping the null values that are present in our data. And the next line for this df.shape, this gives the command for showing the rows and columns, that is the size of the data after dropping the NaN values. So the size here we get is 51 rows and 10 columns. df.count, this gives the command for counting the number of items in our each column. So here we can see the output. Now here, I'm sorry. Now here it is my plot of regression, age versus price. So here these are the markers. These are used by the marker, and this is the scatter plot. So the x-axis is age, y-axis is price, and this is the title of the regression is regression plot of age versus price. Here the condition for the fit regression is true. Therefore, this red line we can see here in our graph. So this was my first question. Now let me take you to my second question. My second question was, how do we handle missing data? Now, handling missing data is not a very unusual concept when it comes to data analytics. In data analytics, missing data is is not very rare. So we cannot avoid situations like this entirely, because there are several remedial steps data scientists take to make sure it doesn't adversely affect the analytics process. While these methods are helpful, but they are not always foolproof, so there are chances of missing the data. Now, here are some of the methods I am going to tell you to handle the missing data. The first one is deletion method. Now, deletion method works only for certain data sets where participants have missing fields. Now, there are several deleting methods. The most common one are listwise deletion and pairwise deletion. It means deleting any participants or data entries with missing values. Now, pairwise deletion is process of eliminating the information when particular data point vital for testing is missing. Pairwise deletion saves more data compared to listwise deletion, because the listwise deletion only deletes entries when the variables were necessary for testing, while the latter deletes entire entries if any data is missing, regardless of its importance. Now, the second method of handling missing data is regression. Regression is useful for handling missing data because it can be used to predict the null value using other information from the data set. There are several methods of regression analysis like stochastic regression, which I have mentioned here. And the regression methods are successful for finding the missing data. But there is one drawback of regression analysis, that it requires significant computing power, which could be problem if data scientists are dealing with a large data set of file. The third the third one is data imputation technique. So scientists use the two data imputation techniques to handle missing data: average imputation and common imputation, that are mentioned here. So average imputation uses average value from the data entries to fill the missing values. Common point imputation, on the other hand, uses the most commonly chosen value. Middle point value, that is the most commonly chosen value. If we are using the data of 5-point scale, the substitute value for it will be 3. So this was my second question. Now let's go to my third question. My third question was numpy arrays and executing the code of the numpy arrays using exponential log and square root arithmetic operation. So let's see the theory first. Now, NumPy array, they are the building blocks of most NumPy operations. Uh, they can be listed as one-dimensional and two-dimensional arrays. We can perform basic arithmetic operations using some of the syntaxes that are provided for that. Like for addition, np.add.array name in the round bracket. For subtraction, np.subtract and uh, array name in the round bracket. Likewise, for multiplication, division, log, exponential, square root, there are simple types of syntaxes which are very easy to use when performing basic arithmetic operations on NumPy arrays. Now, the second part of the question was creating NumPy arrays using various methods. So, first method is arrange method. Now, this is the common method used for creating the array, and this takes the start index of the array, end index of the array, and step size of the array. Now this script which we have written here, that is um, nums1 equals to end dot arrange 247, this will return the array as with the elements 2 4 6. The zeros method, apart from generating custom arrays with pre-filled data, we can create numpy arrays which can be used to create an array of all zeros as shown below. Now nums1 equals to np dot zeros in square bracket 3. Now this will give us the uh, one dimensional array of directly three zeros. Now the ones method. The ones method is if we want to create a one dimensional and two dimensional arrays all of ones using the ones method as follows. So now the first one will give us the one dimensional array and one dimensional array of three columns, and the second one will give us the one dimensional array of three um, three rows and two columns. Now let's go to the linspace method. This is useful method to create numpy arrays in the this method takes three arguments: start index, end index, and number of linearly spaced numbers that we want between the range. Now this 1 is indicating first index, this 10 is indicating uh, last index, and this 10 is indicating equally spaced arrangements. Now the I method. The I method is used to create an identity matrix which can be useful to perform various operations in linear algebra. Now this will give us as this function will give us the linear array identity matrix which will have 4 by 4 rows and columns. Now random method. This method is very good when we have to uh, get random numbers and create a numpy array. Now let's go to my execution of the code. I have to execute exponential log and square root function. Now here we can see the code. Now we have imported the numpy library as np. Here it is the input array 135. We are printing the input array which we can see here in the output box. And now output array, we are performing the exponential arithmetic arithmetic on input array. So output array is equals to exponential of input array, and we here can see in the output that these are the exponents of our input array. And now second code is taking the log of the input array. So here we have imported the numpy library. Here it is the input array with the elements 1 3 5 6 5 2 20 256, printing the input array. Now output array equals to np dot log input array. So here we are taking the log of the input array. Now here as we can see input array 1 3 5 6 which we have given the command to print, and here it is the output array, which is the log of the input array. So so these are the values of the log of the elements of input array respectively. Now importing numpy as geek. Now array1 equals to geek dot square root, and this is the array of which we are going to find the square root. Now this is the syntax for finding the square root. So here this is the command of printing square root of the array, and here we have already performed the operation. So we are getting output as square root of the array 1.8.3.5. This is our output of the code. Now this was the end of my third question. Now let's go to my fourth question. My fourth question was explain any topic of your choice. I have chosen the topic of joins. Now we are going to see different types of joins. So join is an instruction which we use to combine data from more than one table. At least one column in each data set must be the same. When we are in the business that accumulates data, joining is very helpful, and joining are usually done by SQL that we will see in the next slide. SQL is structured query language which is used for joinings. And now these are the types of join. First is inner join, simple join. Now inner join returns the common records that have matching values in both tables. Right outer join. This join returns all the records from the right table and matched records from the left table. Now left outer join. Left outer join returns all the records from the left table and matched records from the right table. Full outer join. This join returns all records when there is a match in either left or right table. Self join is a join that is applied to table itself. Each row of the table is joined with itself and other rows depending on the criteria. Now natural join. This natural join maps the rows implicitly columns among the common columns in both the tables defined from the clause. Cross join. This combines all the rows from left and right tables. This happens when a matching column or where the clause is not mentioned. So uh, now let's see little bit about SQL. SQL is structured query language which is used for joinings. This is the best joining clause that is perfect for combining rows from two or more tables. Now these are the Venn diagrams. This is for inner join, this is for full outer join, this is left join, right join, self join, cross join, natural join, common. Natural join needs a common column as I have mentioned in the definition. So the references used for my PPT were https towardsdatascience.com, pynative.com, Python Panda exercises, www.statisticshowto.com. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a good day.